Hi, friends. Welcome back to another Pick a Card Tarot reading. My name is JP, and this is Juno Drum Tarot. So I'm really excited to get back into reading with you. Today, we're going to be doing a classic, the Yes or No Tarot video. So how this works is, in a moment, I'm going to show you 5 piles to choose from. When you intuitively look at each pile and see sort of which one is really jumping out at you, which one you feel like you really connect with, that's going to be your pile. So you come into it with a yes or no question. Think about a question that you need an answer to, and this reading will answer that question. So there's 3 different methods for generating a yes or a no. I have a pendulum, a coin, and a die. So we'll do 3 yeses. So we'll get either 3 yeses, 3 nos, or a combination of yes and no to give us some form of maybe. I do 3 different methods just to give us a good, clear understanding on what's going on. Sometimes situations are a lot more messy than a simple yes or no answer, and I try to give as much of that complexity as possible. So in a moment, I'm going to show you the piles that you can choose from. And once you do, down below in the description section of this video, you will find a link to the reading. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in your reading. Bye! Hi there, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be your reading on what is the answer to your yes or no question. So I'm pretty excited here. Let me get this into the view here. We're going to start that whole thing over. Hi there, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading. So you chose the reading with this lantern card. So this is going to be the reading on what is the answer to your yes or no question. So I'm excited. We're going to dive right into this. There's 3 different methods for generating a yes or a no. We have the coin, the pendulum, and the die. And then we're going to know either yes, no, or maybe. So we're going to start with the pendulum here. And we just have to ask it some questions that we already know the answer to just to triangulate this and make sure that it's going. So first question, am I recording a video right now? Yes, I am. Is my hair currently the color pink? No, it is not. I've never had pink hair. Actually, that's a lie. I have had pink hair, and it was really nice. Okay, next question. Am I sitting at a table? Yes, I am. And am I currently wearing shoes? No, I am not. Okay, great. So what is the answer to pile number 1's question? It's got really, really slight movement. It's barely moving at all. And it's kind of a yes. Yeah, it's definitely in the moving in a yes direction, but it's really, really not moving all that much. So we'll take that into the interpretation. Let's look at the other methods before we jump into that. So that's a very lukewarm yes from the pendulum. Okay, we've got a 3 on the die, so that's a no. Odds are no. And then let's do the coin. Heads, yes. Tails, no. We got a heads on the coin. Okay, so that's 2 yeses and 1 no. So that's a maybe leaning yes. But with that pendulum being very non-moving, I think we're in one of those hard maybes here. And I know that's you don't come to a yes or no tarot video for you want answers, right? But there's a little bit about this reading where answers are a little hard to come by. And so we'll figure that out. I think, I think just based on my intuition, and we'll get into this reading in a minute here, but with this card here, a couple things. I mean, there's a quote on the back that I'll read, but with a lantern, to me, that's talking about your own inner guidance, right? If we think about, and there's a horn for confirmation out there, so that's really what we're talking about right now. Oh man, yeah. So this is not the answer that you want. I know you don't come to these necessarily for this kind of answer, but the answer to your question is sort of the answer is within you, right? And I know that's an annoying answer. So let's get into it. We've got plenty of cards to really dive deep into this message here, but there is a real importance in trusting your own instincts here, right? You have the answer to your question already. You already have the answer. You know the answer deep down, and there's a little bit about learning how to trust yourself that's important in this situation, right? That a lot of times the universe won't give us the answer from outside of ourselves because we have to learn how to seek and see that information inside. You can ask an infinite amount of opinions from other people. You can seek other people's thoughts and advice. You can go to other situations. You can read as many books as you want. You can look up as many things on the internet as you want. Any of that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, you are the one who is living your own life, and you are the one who's going to need to come up with these answers for yourself. And these answers are within you already. The answer to your question already exists within you, and you already know the answer. And so, that's just kind of this main point here. And we'll look at all these other cards to get some more clarification about stuff. But the biggest takeaway here is that not only do you know the answer to your situation, but this particular situation that you're in, that you're asking about, is one that is it exists to help prove to you that you can trust yourself, right? This is a situation where, I'm just thinking of the Hermit card here because the lantern is associated with the Hermit. And, the Hermit's about going off on your own and maybe being alone for a while to find yourself and figure out your own opinion. And so, coming to the answer of this question, it's all about learning how to trust your own instincts and your own intuition. And at the end of the day, you really do have the answer to this question, even if you don't think that you do. So let's dive in. Wow, powerful already. The first, we have some oracle cards and a bunch of tarot. So with this sort of format here, I'm going to try to lay these out so you can see them. And we'll see. This is my first time using. I got a GoPro. I'm really excited about it. But yeah, this is my first time using it in the tarot readings. Your card from the Forest Fae deck is the Woodwife. Trust your inner. Oh my God. This is insane. It says trust your inner wisdom. Holy moly. I don't read these beforehand. This is crazy. So, yeah, my intuition's on point today. But yours is too. Pile number 1. Trust your own inner wisdom. It's there. You already know the answer to this question. You don't need me to tell you. But I'm going to keep seeing what we have for you. But, the answer is already here for you, and you already know it, and you probably don't even need to watch the rest of this, but I'm going to give you a full reading anyway. But, trust your own inner wisdom here, because you know it. You know what's going on. You have the whole thing lined up for yourself. Okay, so we have a bunch of tarot here. I'm going to pull all the tarot out together because there's not too much. Just because a lot of times tarot tells a story when it's all together. So we have the 7 of Cups, which I feel for you, hardcore. The 2 of Pentacles. You got the 7 of Cups again, so, double message there. Whenever a message comes up twice, it really is the most important message of the reading. And the 6 of Cups here with the watermelon from the Herbal Tarot. Okay, so what is this about here? I think, I think the problem, why you feel like you can't trust your intuition in this and what this situation is about, is that you actually have a lot of options. I think this is one of those situations where you're kind of overwhelmed at the possibilities ahead of you. Because the Seven of Cups sometimes can talk about having too many choices and too many opportunities, it being presented with a lot of different things, and it can feel indecisive, right? It can be a deeply indecisive energy. And so there is this sense here, pile number one, that you're being indecisive, and the reason why is because you have unlimited possibility ahead of you, right? You have unlimited amount of options, and I think that you know that. I think that deep down, intuitively, you completely understand that you have unlimited access to all of these opportunities, and I think because of that, you're a bit overwhelmed, and you're thinking that, how could I possibly choose? And this might not be a situation where you actually need to choose only one of these things too. Because like I was saying in the intro, you know, these not everything is always a clear cut yes and a clear cut no, right? Sometimes things are, there's multiple options and there's multiple situations. And so, you're being given the balance card here with the Two of Pentacles. And so this really is a situation where coming back into your own balance of day to day might even help. Like if this is a situation where you've been procrastinating for about something for a while, if you don't have any hard deadlines, right? If this isn't a situation where it's like, life or death or dire, or you're going to lose your job or whatever, so like don't think about those. If this is a situation where you're just trying to make something happen and you've set all these deadlines for yourself, or you've take that as it resonates. If there's no hard deadline or timeline, I think there's a real importance here. Also, sorry for my, I got my dishwasher going, so I don't know if you can pick that noise up. There's a real importance here about taking a break, right? Taking a break from all of it. If you're having a really hard time deciding something, if this is something with no hard deadline, like I said, maybe you need to take a week off. Don't decide this week. Say, okay, next week I'm going to decide. This week I'm just going to relax. I'm going to do all these things. Let it go so you're not stuck in this sort of procrastination energy, because I'm feeling a little bit of that here. There needs to be a certain level of saying, sometimes when you just can't do something, you should stop trying to do it for a minute and tend to all those other parts of you, right? Because a lot of times when we're stuck in this sort of procrastination energy, we can get really stuck not doing anything, right? Because we're like, oh no, I have to do this one thing, or I have to get this one thing made, or choose this one thing. And so that decision is hanging in the air so much that you're neglecting all these other aspects of yourself. So, go take a shower, go brush your teeth if you need to, you know what I mean? Like, make sure you're getting sleep, go food shopping, all these little things, you know what I mean? Like, give yourself a week to just not have to do anything or decide anything or be anywhere or understand anything on a deep level, and just have this like regaining composure, regaining balance situation for yourself. And I think that that's going to really help you, because then you'll be able to go back into this fresh with a more fresh perspective, and choosing this thing or deciding this thing or coming to a conclusion about this situation will be much easier. And you might even do it naturally, subconsciously, so that when you come back to it, it'll be way more obvious, right? And, we've got a little bit of a hint on how that can happen, too, with the Six of Cups, because this can talk about happy memories from the past and from childhood. So whatever your decision is moving forward, whatever this choice is, whatever this opportunity to understand things bigger is, whatever that is, it's going to come from something that's obvious from your childhood, right? This is something that, is meant for you, is destined for you, is part of your life. It's part of your being. It's a part of you, that's always been, right? So it's not going to be a big stretch. There might be a lot of societal barriers that you've learned to internalize that are keeping you from this thing, right? There's might be a lot of excuses and situations and, oh, well, I can't do this because of that. There might be a lot of that kind of thing sitting in the way of it. But deep down, when you were a child, this is something you were naturally doing anyway. You were doing it to have fun. You were working with yourself to have a good time. You know what I mean? It was something you were just naturally drawn to, that you've always been drawn to. And so coming back to it isn't going to be this big giant, it's not going to be as crazy as you think, right? It's going to be natural. It's going to fit. It's going to be this very natural moving situation for you. So, you know the answer. You don't need me to tell you. And, go get some sleep. Make sure you're eating right. Go food shopping. Take this week to do nothing and chill out about it. You don't have to worry as much. And I know that's easier said than done. A lot of the stuff, it's so easy to get stuck in anxiety cycles. As someone who has done that most of my life, I've gotten a lot better about learning how to catch myself and come out of it. But, if we've had anxiety for long periods of time in our lives, it's a natural habit to land back into. And so, that's where mindfulness practices and things like that can really help. Do some research in mindfulness if you need to. Meditation is a incredible life-changing tool that you can always come back to. That's an aside. I don't think you necessarily need that, but just saying, if you feel overwhelmed, sometimes that can help as well. Final card comes from the Healing with the Angels Oracle deck, and it's support. Okay, yeah, that's cool. So, at the end of the day, too, you've got help and you got support around you. This is talking specifically about like spirit guides and angels and stuff. You see all the fun people in this card. So, on the one hand, there's the spiritual side of things, that you have spiritual help available to you from the universe. If you want to tune into it, if you want to conceive of it, however you want to, you don't have to necessarily think about spirit guides. You can just think that, the universe is out there to help you if you look for it, right? So there's that. At the same time, there's also, I think that there's actual help physically in your life available to you as well. So, think about that. If you're having trouble deciding something, or, you're having trouble even remembering what it was you loved in childhood, if you have a relationship with your parents and they're around, call them. Say, hey, Mom, what did I like to do? What was I always doing when I was young? You know what I mean? If you need help like that, that's one aspect. There's also, I just feel like that there's help in your life, in your world, out there, that there's support for you, to help you through not just this, but through any situation. If you're feeling overwhelmed, or like you're having a difficulty coming to an understanding about things, and you need advice, advice is out there for you. And then there's also people like me, you know what I mean? There's a wonderful community of tarot readers on YouTube. So I do feel that there's a little bit, like I said, with these messages of the answer is within, it's not always the best idea to just go down the rabbit hole and keep watching as many yes or no videos as possible. Like that can lead to a burnout. But there may be some other pick a card readings out there that could help you. And then finally, you could go seek a tarot reader. You could go to a therapist. You can go to lots of different people can help you for different reasons out there, in many different types of things. You could see a life coach, or, whatever it is. There's probably support and help out there for you if you need it. So just be open to it, no matter what your budget is, right? Like, there could be people out there to help you. So anyway, pile number one, I'm going to leave you there. That was my reading for you. I hope that it leaves you feeling a little bit more solid about your life and about your situation. And I think that was a good reading. So let me know what you think in the comments. Either way, I love hearing from everybody. It's really great to hear from you all. A huge thanks to all of my subscribers. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. It really does help me out. The channel's growing really strong, and I'm so thankful and appreciative and grateful to all of you who are tuning in. It really means a lot to me, and it's a great way that I can give back to you too. I like doing these readings. I like this situation. I know sometimes I go through periods where I have to go do other things. And I think that's going to continue to happen. But if you tune in with me, I'm devoted to giving you really good, solid readings. So when I can give them to you, I really do give them my everything, my 100%. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. It means a lot. I hope you have a wonderful day, pile number one, and I will catch you in the next reading. See ya. Hi there, pile number two. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be your reading on what is the answer to your yes or no question. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited to bring you another tarot video. So we're going to dive right into this reading here. You chose the pile with this tree card, and there's a quote on the back that says, "Nothing is more beautiful than the loveliness of the woods before the sunrise." So let's try to figure out a little bit about what this reading is about here. We've got three different methods for generating a yes or a no. We've got the pendulum, the die, and the coin. So let's dive right in. So we're going to do the pendulum first. We're going to get either a yes, a no, triple yes, triple no, or a maybe leaning one way or the other. So just to make sure that this is working and we're getting accurate answers, I have to ask it questions we already know the answer to. So the first one is, am I currently wearing shoes right now? Okay, no, I am not. It did move to no. Okay. Is it nighttime as I record this? Yes, it is. Okay. Am I currently sitting at a table? I am indeed. Okay, and what is the answer to pile number two's question? Okay, pile number two, it looks like it's a yes. It's a little bit of a light yes, but still yes. So let's do the coin next. Heads will be yes, tails will be no. Okay, the coin is on tails. So we have one yes, one no. That leaves us in maybe category right now. Now the die will tell us which direction. Leaning yes, leaning no. Even is yes, odd is no. And we have a 9, so that's 2 no's and 1 yes. It's a maybe leaning no. So for whatever reason, the most likely answer to your question, pile number 2, is no, but it's not a definitive no. So what does that mean? That means that there is still a chance that what you're asking about could happen, but it might be a situation where in order to make this thing happen, you might have to change directions, right? The general trajectory is still in a no word direction, but it's still possible to make this a yes, or this could be a yes depending on the circumstances. So let's take a look here. Like I said, you had this one here with the pine tree, and it's saying that like nothing is more beautiful than the loveliness of the woods before the sunrise, right? So it's sort of like whatever it is you're asking about, we're getting one of these situations with it being a maybe leaning no. Um, you know, the sun hasn't risen yet. Maybe this is a divine timing issue, like this is no because it's no right now, but it could change to being yes in the future, depending. Let's look at some more cards though, just to get a better understanding of this. So we've got a bunch of tarot and a few oracles. I want to start with some tarot cards. So let's do these three first. Three from the Herbal Tarot. We have the Nine of Swords. Yeah, I feel that for you. The King of Pentacles, and I don't read reversals in general readings. I just find that they tend to get in the way. And then we have the Magician. Okay, yeah, so there is really this energy of, you could change. I don't know if you're looking for a yes and you're getting a no, right? It could be one of those situations for you, or maybe you wanted a no. Regardless, there's something about your situation that is requiring you to take the driver's seat in this, right? With the Magician here, regardless of what you're asking about, you do have the ability and control to change the outcome of whatever it is to
whatever it is you want, right? Ultimately, you are in control. You do have the ability to create for yourself the dynamics to make anything happen. And it's important for you to remember that in this situation. With the Nine of Swords, though, you know, I do think that, the reason why you're on a no trajectory right now, and like I said, you can always change it to being a yes trajectory, right? It might take actions and discipline and certain circumstances to move around and change in order to really get to that place for you, pile number two. But the reason why I think that you're in this position is the Nine of Swords, talking about worry, thinking. There's something about your thinking patterns at the moment that are kind of getting in the way, right? Like, I think that you actually are this deeply powerful manifester here with this Magician card. And, I think you are, with the King of Pentacles here, you do have the potential to manifest material abundance, stability in your life. But I feel like you might be in one of those situations right now where, you're letting the worry create itself, right? Where sometimes this is so much easier said than done. Is particularly if you've been caught in a cycle of lack mentality, especially if you've grown up in lack mentality, and your circumstances growing up, it can be really easy to perpetuate that in ourselves as we move forward in life. But there's a little bit here, reminding you that you actually have the ability and the power to create any life for yourself that you want. And it might not be, you might not know how to do that right now with your mind as it is, but that doesn't mean that you don't have the ability to change those types of things, right? And there's a horn outside for confirmation, so it's really important. Um, so, so basically, I think for you, pile number two, there's a little bit of a requirement here to come back into center, right? It can be really easy to let our fears perpetuate in our lives, right? And we can have these fears of not having enough, fears of not being able to make ends meet, all of these kinds of things. And it's okay to have those, right? It's okay to be afraid sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to control that, but ultimately, it's important to ask yourself, am I moving through life from a place of fear or from a place of love, right? Am I coming from a place of creation day to day, or am I every day perpetuating this fear within myself, perpetuating the idea that I don't have enough, the idea that I'm not going to be able to make it, because ultimately, the story that we tell ourselves about our lives, um, that story becomes our life. And so there is a little bit of a need, I think, to break that mental cycle here for you and change your perspective to realize that you actually have an incredible amount of power. And I think you are a deeply powerful manifester. And because of that, your thoughts really do reverberate out, and, what you ask for the universe comes to you. And that can be, sometimes when we're in these thinking patterns of negativity and stuff like those thought processes bring in stuff that we don't want. You know what I mean? By being afraid, we bring in that fear to us sometimes. And um, like I said, it's easier said than done, but it's something. It's definitely possible to get out of that cycle. It just comes to a point of coming to a sense of trust. Trusting yourself, trusting the universe, trusting that you have the ability to make it. Trusting that you'll handle it, trusting that you'll be able to change. And big changes, particularly if you're trying to if you're trying to manifest a deeply stable and abundant life for yourself, that doesn't always happen overnight, and so releasing that timing thing. Remember when I was talking about divine timing, releasing the need for this to be, you know, nobody's saying you have to manifest $1 million tomorrow, right? And in fact, that's a bit of an unrealistic ask. I don't think it's necessarily impossible, right? I think anything is possible. But I think for a lot of us, particularly if we're in situations where we are in this deep lack mentality, particularly if we've grown up in that, right? If we've grown up in poverty, if we've grown up without having enough, it can be really challenging and difficult to change though that lifestyle overnight. And so there's a bit of a need to have patience with yourself in this as well. You know, working on the worry first, working on the lack first. And that can be as simple as, okay, what do I need to do in my daily life to prove to myself that I have enough? You know, what are some things I can do to prove that to myself? You know, what kind of thing do I need to feel more stable? You know, maybe that means finding a job that pays more, you know, and how can I do that for myself that's realistic right now? It's okay to be practical in some of these situations, you know. I think a lot of times in the spiritual circles and the manifestation circles, you know, nobody's saying, like, I'm not saying right now not to dream big. Like, I think it's actually deeply important to keep those big dreams alive and to work towards those, and to make those real for yourself and to tell yourself you can do those things. But sometimes we need to take small steps in order to digest them. And so, you know, you can have your long term goal, but what's your day to day goal at the same time? And you can have both, and one doesn't have to negate the other. Let's look at some more tarot cards here. We have 3 cards from the 1JJ Swiss deck. We've got the Page of Coins. Yes. This goes right in line with what we've been talking about, which is great. We've got the 5 of Swords. Yeah. Okay, that's an interesting card. Oh, and we got the blank card. Ooh, that's interesting. This deck has a blank card, which I think is cool. It reminds me of the blank rune. You know, that blankness is it's there to say that there's infinite possibility and infinite creation for yourself. You really do have the ability to create any life that you want for yourself, right? And so, you know, with this being a maybe leaning no, it's like you're still on that no trajectory, but you can change yourself into that yes trajectory here. That's why the maybe comes in. And so it might take work here, you know. I do think that there's going to be a need to change your perspective, a need to change your thoughts and your thinking patterns, you know, really targeting those worries, you know, and to get to them, you know, it might take doing some inner work, you know. Well, what is it within? You know, maybe this is stuff, like I was saying, from childhood that could be repeating itself, you know. Maybe this is intergenerational trauma that you're holding, and there might be some of that you need to work through. And you know, that work is hard. It's not easy, right? It's a challenge, but it's a realistic challenge, right? It's a doable thing to go into those places, to go into the subconscious to heal. You know, maybe you have some subconscious stuff that you know is related to self-worth and stuff that needs to be addressed in order to move forward. But if you're willing to put in that work, right, the real results are possible for you. And like I said, with this powerful manifestation, I think if you decide that you want to do that kind of healing work, if that's something you resonate with, that you need to do for yourself, just choosing to do so and giving it your 100%, you'll probably make huge leaps and bounds very quickly, you know, within months, within years, you know. And years might sound like a long time, but, you know, 2 years can go by really quick if you're devoting it to deep healing. And then, you know, when you decide to do that kind of work, that inner work, it might feel like you are not moving as much on the external, but by doing that work, you create such a solid and sound foundation for yourself that when you're ready to move again after doing that work, it's like sprinting. It's like it happens immediately. It just like it's crazy how those dominoes just kind of fall into place after doing that kind of work. So that's just you know, from my own personal experience. With this Page of Cups or Page of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles here, it's kind of cool that they're both here, because it's sort of like you have every ability here within your power to be this powerful King of Pentacles. It may take, you know, we all have to start somewhere. It might take being the page first to learn the ropes, right? To learn how to do this, to learn, you know, what does financial independence mean to you? What does financial stability look like to you? These are all your own personal things that you get to find and experience for yourself. And it's okay to be at the beginning stages of that kind of work. It's okay to be starting someplace. We all have to start somewhere in life. And it can be really frustrating sometimes to be at the beginning, especially if we've put in a lot of work in other areas of our life, because nobody wants to feel uh, less than or stupid or any of that kind of thing, um, under anyone else. It never feels good to be in that position. But I've started to find, you know, that if you approach the beginning mindset not from a place of lack, right, where like I'm not where I want to be yet. Instead, being a beginner can be like, well, you know what, I'm curious. I'm curious. There's stuff I don't know, and it's okay that I don't know these things. Like, what does this mean to me? What can I learn? How can I grow from this? And the more that you embrace being a beginner, like I said, that speed can come in much quicker because you're not holding yourself back by trying to convince yourself that you're not where you are. When you are 100% honest about exactly where you are, meeting yourself where you are right here right now, not where you want to be, not where you think you should be, not where you feel entitled to be or where you're supposed to be, letting all that go. It's hard to, but being present enough with yourself to let all that go and say, no, I'm going to meet myself where I am right here, right now. And you know what? If where I am right now is not the best place, if I'm hurt, if I'm depressed, if I'm anxious, if I'm not feeling so great, that's okay. You know what? That's okay. I'm going to meet myself here where I am, and I'm going to be here for myself. Because the more that you do that, the more that you reinforce to yourself that um, that you're valid wherever you are, where your feelings are valid where you are, and you're meeting yourself there. You won't be feeling the need to um, fill that gap on the outside and feel this sort of desperation to find somebody who can validate you. And then on the other hand, too, you're also teaching yourself that um, that it's okay to be at the beginning stages of something. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to learn and to change and to grow and to take time and to be patient. And those are really important lessons to learn, because by taking it slow like that and really being present with yourself, then you can move dramatic places. And that's how the greatest manifestors are able to work in those ways, because they yes, they see where their goals are, they see where they want to go, but they're not going to pretend that they're where they are, or where they want to be when they aren't there yet, and that's okay. They're just open to being where they are right here, right now. And then when you're so present in the moment that way, then these new things can come in because you're open. You're here, you're now, and you're open, instead of living in the future, living in the past. We have one card. Oh, that's funny. One card from the Wild Unknown Tarot, and it's the Judgment card. Yeah, okay, so that's interesting. So, you know, I think the Judgment is about where you are right now, which is interesting. It's sort of like, for me, the Judgment card is all about this taking the time out to really see where you are right now. It's a very present card, the Judgment card, but it's also a reflection of the past. But it's like this reflection of the past that can only come when you accept exactly where you are, right? So I think that you're in this sort of reflective moment right now by opening yourself up to realizing, because like I said, as this as open, this is a maybe leading no. So there's something about your trajectory. If you were trying to get on the yes track here, there's something about your trajectory that needs to change. And so, this might be an opportune moment for you to really take the time to reflect about where you are right now, and to really reflect about what's not working, and to reflect about where it is you're trying to get to, and be really open with yourself um, about how you aren't where you want to be maybe right now. And like I was saying before, that's okay, that maybe this is taking the opportunity um, to change course, to redirect, to think of things from a new perspective, to begin again, to change um, your day to day, and the more that you are willing to meet yourself 100% where you are, the easier it'll be to course correct, you know, because um, you won't feel like you went all in one direction, and so you can't change, you know. That's I think where we can run into real danger in life is when we put all of our eggs in one basket, and we have this expectation that's the only way that things can happen. And we close ourselves off. We become closed-minded, where we don't allow any other possibility to exist. Sometimes we can really fall hard, um, when we aren't as open, right? Because we aren't willing to see when things aren't working. And so there's a little bit of that energy in this, of just sort of being open to understanding if things aren't, if you're not exactly where you want to be right now. That's okay. First of all, that's okay. um, and second of all, maybe there's an opportunity to redirect, you know. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to get off the bus altogether, right? Maybe it just means, you know, you got to switch things up just a little bit, and then you'll be rolling again, you know. um, take it as it resonates. So the final two cards are both oracle cards. The first one comes from Healing with the Angels oracle deck, and it is Guardian Angel. Yeah, so there's some real protection here for you as well, which is important to remember. You know that if you are feeling lost at any point, you can ask for help from the other side, from the divine. You know, from however you want to conceive of it, the universe itself, from your guardian angel, from your spirit guides, from whatever. You know, you there's help available to you. It just, with that judgment card too, it's just like being open to the new perspective that might have to shift in order to see it, to experience it, right? It's there for you. You might need to change your mind a little bit in order to open yourself to it. So be open to it, you know. Final card comes from the Forest Fae deck, and it is She of the Mossy Bray. Not all things are as they seem. Trust in your intuition. Yeah, so that's a good final card for this. It's sort of like, I do think that there is a bit of a course correction that needs to happen, and I think maybe you know this. You know, with trusting your intuition, I think you've probably gotten the inkling about this before, and so this shouldn't come as too much of a surprise to you. So this might be a good opportunity to open yourself up to your intuition more, to trust in those feelings in the back of your mind, you know, when they're there, of like, oh, I don't know if this feels right, you know. Whenever anything like that ever pops up for you, like, really trust that feeling, because it's there for a reason. It's a legitimate thing there, that those feelings. So be open to them when they come, because they're there to help you and to direct you in the right ways. So anyway, pile number two, I'm going to leave you there. That was my reading for you. I hope that it resonates. Let me know in the comments what you think either way. I love hearing from everybody. Thank you so much to all of our subscribers. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. It really does help the channel out as it's growing. And I'm so thankful for everyone who tunes in. I just want you to know um, that I'm so happy that you're with me and that you're here. I know I have a lot going on in my own personal life, and so um, I'm not as active on this channel as I'd like to eventually be, but I will continue to bring these videos to you as I can, and I'm here for you, to give you help. And I do have private readings available on the website as well, if you ever need access to those. The website is www.junodrome.com, so feel free to hit me up on there. I would love to help you out in whatever situation you're in. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll catch you later. Bye.
Hi, friends. Welcome, pile number three. You chose the reading with this shooting star here. So we're going to dive right into this reading. This is a yes or no tarot video. What is the answer to your yes or no question? Before we dive into figuring out the yes or no, just a quick message. You are magic. Right? That was great. I love that. Okay, so let's get this going, shall we? Okay, so we have three different methods for generating a yes or a no. We've got a coin flip, we've got a die somewhere. I'll find that in a minute. And then we have a pendulum. We're going to start with the pendulum. So, basically, I'm going to ask it a couple questions I already know the answer to, just to triangulate, to make sure we have the right answers going, and then we'll dive right in here. So, um, am I currently sitting at a table right now? Yes, I am. Okay. I recently had to replace the chain on this, so it's a little bit slower than it used to be. Okay. Am I wearing shoes right now? No, I am not. Okay. Is there a painting sitting in front of me? Yes, there is. Okay. What is the answer to pile number three's question? It's still swinging in a circle, so I'm calling it a yes. Okay, so the pendulum is saying yes. Let us look at the rest of the methods to kind of figure this out now. So first up, we've got a coin. Heads is yes, tails is no. And we got a heads on the coin, so 2 yeses right now. So the answer is looking like yes. Let's see, we need a die as well. Here's one. Even is yes, odd is no. And you got a 6, so that's a yes. Okay, so pile number 3, the answer to your question is yes. It's a triple yes. So there's no maybes here. For whatever it is you're asking about, whether you wanted a yes or not, you have a triple yes. Whenever we have a triple yes, I find that to be, a very enthusiastic answer. So this is an answer that is yes, and you are magic here. So this is really about taking control of your life and your situation. I think, we'll think of this a little bit as a star. Maybe you are a star. You're the star of your own life here, and, whether, you want like celebrity star status, I think that's possible, that's always possible. But regardless of that, the star is also about awakening to yourself, this is both the star and the magician, because of the magic. So it's sort of like this answer of um, you are in control of your destiny, you are in control of your life, and the universe is enthusiastically with you on this. And so whatever it is that you're asking about, there is this enthusiastic push towards being in your own power and being in your own truth and knowing that you have the ability to create anything that you want for yourself. We've got one card from the Forest Fae deck, and it is To the Green Wood. Seek comfort and acceptance. Be kind to yourself. Yeah, so there's a real importance here, to realize, that when life is totally in your own hands, right? It is so important to be kind to yourself, to be nurturing to yourself and gentle with yourself, because how you treat yourself is how the outer world will reflect back to you, right? And so what that means is that, if you are treating yourself with love and giving yourself acceptance and easing your way through difficulties and challenges, it's not to say that challenges won't happen to you anymore, right? Difficulties and challenges are a part of life, and we all have to face them, every single person. But if you're ready and willing to meet those with a sense of self-love and kindness and personal gentleness, then you're able to truly bring about the life that you want for yourself, right? But if you're meeting yourself with being really hard on yourself, you're kind of getting in your own way in that, and that's where that you are the magic here. You're the one in control. It's up to you if you decide to work through those things and those challenges. Like I said, not that challenges will never happen, but if you're really ready to meet them with a sense of kindness and gentleness for yourself, then you're able to pull yourself through any kind of difficulties and create any kind of situation for yourself that's for the best, right? Um, we've got a bunch of tarot cards now for you, and why don't we do these two together first? We've got two cards from the Herbal Tarot. We've got the star. So there you go. You got the star. I kind of was thinking that for this shooting star as well. So that's wonderful that it's showing up here. And you've got the Eight of Wands. Yeah, okay, interesting. So yeah, this is really swift moving action here. The Eight of Wands talks about something coming in very fast. And with the star here, the star in the tarot deck, it comes after the tower. So it comes after these difficult, cataclysmic, changing moments. And it's a reawakening to our inner self and our own inner light, and our own inner understanding that we are able to make anything happen. We can, even after going through difficult situations, right? Even after going through challenges and going through the worst of it, of going through difficulties and things that are out of your control, even after going through those kinds of situations, you still have the ability to create the life of your dreams and the projects of your dreams, the career of your dreams, any of that, whatever it is that you want for yourself, the life you imagine for yourself. And it's important to remember, if the life that you imagine for yourself is one where you are relaxing on the beach and you don't need anything else besides that, that's something to take into account as well, right? A lot of times our culture, we're all about trying to create money and career and all of that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if that's not your dream for yourself, that's okay too. And that's an important part about, the star energy in general is that, and when we had the magic as well, it's sort of like your magic is the opening to dictate yourself for your life, right? So by tuning into that inner power that you have, that inner light, your own inner wisdom and your own inner magic of the life that you desire for yourself, right? It doesn't have to look like anything that the outside would want, right? It doesn't have to, you don't have to reflect the outside world to people. You can be whoever you want for yourself and live the life of your own personal dreams. And there's a certain amount of importance in that here. Yeah, and tuning into your own being and what it is you need for yourself is an important aspect of this. We have three cards from the one JJ Swiss deck. We've got the Valet des Épées, which is the Page of Cups, or Swords, rather. We've got the Knight of Coins, or Pentacles. And we've got the Death card. Okay, wow. Oh, this is really, really powerful. So you have the Star and you have the Death card. So there's a certain sense here. These tell a story. On this path towards your own personal journey towards abundance, the Knights are about movement, right? I always interpret the Knights as what is the energy and in the reading? Where is the energy moving? And the movement of energy here is within the pentacle suit. So it's all about the material, right? It doesn't have to necessarily be about money, like I was saying before, but it certainly can be. And it can certainly be about career, and it can be about just abundance in general. The physical aspects of life, your health, where you live, your own physical life around you. And this is talking about a change in that, with the Death and the Page of Swords, there's talking about, with this new, this shift in thinking, because the Page of Swords is a new beginning in the thought sphere. So this is a new way of perceiving the world and thinking about things and thinking about your life. And so with the Star here, I really do think that you went through something pretty difficult potentially in the recent past, or you went through a big change in your recent past. And because of that, that's leading you to this new way of thinking about yourself, about life, about everything around you. And, with the Death card there, it is talking about this big change. There is this big change. And the death doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't mean actual death here. But it talks about like a transformation of consciousness, of a turning of how you experience life, and a new beginning with this Page of Swords. You're really in a new spot here. And this new beginning is coming in very quickly with the Eight of Wands. So that's huge, we've got three more tarot cards here, and then we've got one more oracle. So these three tarot cards left. There's somebody vacuuming in my apartment building hallway, so if you can hear that, forgive me. These are from the Wild Unknown Tarot. We've got the 10 of Cups, which is amazing. We've got the 2 of Wands, And we've got the Nine of Swords. Yeah. Okay. So I think that there's a big aspect here because, whenever we go through difficult things in life and we go through difficult situations, and especially if any of you who are watching this have experienced any kind of trauma, any kind of suffering in general, that kind of tends to stick in us a little bit, and we start to, as a protection, we start to put up walls against the outside world, and we're thinking like, oh well, when is the next shoe going to drop? That's a big thing that a lot of people do after you've been through difficulties, right? And there's an importance here to recognize, actually, I don't think that a shoe is going to drop for you here. Instead, you're at this new beginning point with the Two of Wands, where you can actually start to plan for your future now in a new way, right? You're at a brand new start, and it's up to you to create anything for yourself. You are magic. You can create any life that you want for yourself here. And what's coming up here is ultimate happiness with the 10 of Cups. I mean, that's ultimate happiness. That's deep fulfillment. That's personal joys. And remember, like I was saying, this doesn't mean that nothing bad is ever going to happen to you again. It's important to remember that. But what it means is that if you can survive the worst of it, and I think that you have, I think that you've already survived the worst of it here. If you are capable of surviving the worst of it and getting back up anyway, and proving to yourself that even at your lowest point, you're still devoted to love, devoted to yourself, devoted to your being, devoted to doing the right thing, devoted to your own personal integrity. If you can in your lowest of lows continue to tell yourself that and embody that as your own being, then you can tackle any challenge that comes to face you moving forward. And this is about, a lot of times in life we are presented with this opportunity um, to decide how we want to perceive the situations that happen to us, right? And that's where this new beginning and new consciousness comes in. Is difficult situations will always happen, right? They're going to keep happening here, but you have the choice on how you want to respond to difficulties, right? You can respond to them um, in a difficult, horrible way, right? Or meet them with fear and meet them with tearing yourself apart emotionally every time that those kinds of difficulties happen. Or you can say, you know what? I understand that this is a difficult thing, and you know what? Hard things happen, but I'm not going to let it break me. I'm not going to let it um, uh, dash my ability to see that beautiful things are also happening around me. And I will choose to see the wonderful things in my life, and I will choose to take every, there's a transformation in consciousness. You don't have this card here, but with the I believe it's the Five of Pentacles, where there's this transformation of consciousness that can happen, where even at your lowest low in the dark night of the soul, you learn to perceive situations differently. So you can start to see that, not that every awful thing has to have a silver lining, because sometimes just terrible things happen, right? But sometimes difficult situations happen in our life, and they are an opportunity. Not that they had to happen, right? But they might be an opportunity to um, to view what you do have going for yourself, right? And any kind of thing that doesn't work out has an opportunity to teach you deep life lessons. And if you choose to see the difficult things as a lesson, and you take whatever lesson is coming, then you have the ability to sail through difficult situations as they continue to happen, if they happen in the future. Whenever a difficult thing happens in the future, you've already learned how to deal with this. And by accepting that this is a teaching moment and gaining the tools that the wisdom of experience has given you in those difficult situations, you can take those tools and use them in future difficulties to make the situation easier on yourself, right? Because you know how to deal with it. You know what's happened. You know how to move through it. You know that you can move through it. You know that you can heal after difficulties, and you can not take things as heavily as seriously. You can move through the difficult situations with a sense of levity, because you know how to do that. You know how to transform through things. You know how to move through things, and it's not always easy to do that, right? Sometimes horrible things happen, and we and that's that, right? That's that. I don't want to. I want to be really clear, because I think it's important. Uh, suffering. I try to take the Buddhist point of view in a lot of situations, and I'm not necessarily a Buddhist. I just kind of take parts of the philosophy that I think are really helpful. But in Buddhism, there is the adage that suffering exists. Suffering happens, right? It's here. It's a part of our world, and it is not something that we can pretend does not exist, right? It's here. So we need to acknowledge it, and we need to see it, and we need to understand it when it happens, right? Because if we pretend that it doesn't exist, we're doing ourselves a deep disservice. Because, like I was saying before, there could be opportunity to grow from this, and it's important to understand. You know, I'm not saying that suffering is a good thing, right? I'm just saying that the difficult situations can be an opportunity to understand things differently and to become a better person from it. And it's this sort of thing where the way that I see it, it's like I'm not saying that I'm glad that it happened, but I am saying if it's gonna happen, I might as well get something out of it. You know what I mean? Instead of it just being a gut punch and that's it, like I'm going to get something out of this, and I'm going to grow from this difficulty in this horrible situation, um, you know, and I'm going to choose to become a bigger and better person from this instead of um, letting it control me and move me down, Um, and so that's just the opportunity, right? That comes from these difficult situations. And like I said, it's a shame that difficult situations in life happen sometimes. And I do think that maybe you've gone through one of those recently, but I think the cards are kind of showing that this is an opportunity, like I said, to transform and to grow from it. And so, you can ask yourself, what does this situation teach me? What does the situation show to me on how I can move forward with my life from a place of integrity, from a place of growth, of happiness. How can I create a happy life for myself, and let go of the negative thoughts here. That's where the Nine of Swords is all about. Anxiety and these difficult thoughts and thought patterns, and difficult thoughts happen. And it's important, another part of the Buddhist understanding and philosophy is that we learn that we are not our thoughts. And what does that mean? That means thoughts come into our awareness, but those thoughts come and go. And sometimes challenging and difficult thoughts will pop into our awareness. But we don't have to identify with those thoughts. Just because a thought pops into our awareness, we don't have to let it take us over and control us. And we don't have to let those thoughts become who we are. If a difficult thought, being gentle with yourself is really important here. If you think of something that's horrible, and you don't like it, you don't have to harangue yourself for thinking that. Oh my God, how can I think that? That's horrible, and blah 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 blah. You don't have to do that, right? It's just a thought. You are the awareness behind your thoughts, right? The thoughts pop in and out of your awareness. You are that awareness. And so that's where, practices of mindfulness can be incredibly helpful, because mindfulness, you start to learn how to put that distance there, where you are aware of the thoughts coming in and out, and you don't have to let them take control of you and bring you down a rabbit hole that you don't necessarily want to go down. You can say, okay, I see this. I'm going to let it go, Oh, that's not exactly how I feel. That's not exactly how I want to be thinking. But I can see that thought. I'm not going to harangue myself for thinking that thing. But I'm going to say, okay, as much as this thought is here, that's not who I am. I'm not that thought. I am the awareness behind that thought. What does happiness and peace look like for me? And how can I cultivate that for myself? And how can I let go of all of these difficult things that are not mine, right? That don't need to be here. And the more that you start practicing that, the more that it gets easier. It's definitely easier said than done, especially in the beginning, right? It's a challenge. It's not an easy thing, but it's a practice, right? And you know what? You fall off the wagon when you start to realize you're falling off the wagon, because that realization comes in again. Then you say, "Oh, great! Oh, thank goodness! Okay, all right, I'm going back on it." Right? And that's what meditation is too. It's like when you meditate, A lot of people think that you're supposed to just not have any thoughts going into your head at all, and that's kind of impossible, right? That's an impossible task to do. I don't know, maybe some people can do it, but most people can't. You're going to have thoughts pop into your mind even when you try to meditate. And so, the important thing to do in those kinds of situations is to, when a thought pops in, you go, it's going to happen, and you start to go down a thought loop, and maybe you don't notice. When it comes in, when you notice that it comes in. And that's where, remember, you're that awareness. When you notice that you're thinking again, instead of haranguing yourself and go, oh God, you go, no, you go, oh, I was meditating. Let me go back to meditating. Okay, I'm meditating. And then you go back into it. And then, it might happen again. And every time it does, it's not a cause of sorrow to have the thoughts come in. It is a cause of celebration to realize you are thinking and decide, because remember, you have the choice here to decide to go back into thinking. And that's where the mindfulness practice in your daily life comes in too. When you have those challenging thoughts come in, it's not a sorrow to have those thoughts. And this is a really difficult thing to think about. You have to really think about it in a new perspective. It is not a bad thing to have those thoughts. It is a cause of celebration to realize that you are having those thoughts and to decide to go back into letting them go, right? And so the more that you practice that, like I said, it's habits, right? It's a habit energy. It's going to be hard at first, and you're not always going to, like, you're going to fall off the wagon. We all do, always, I think probably even the Buddhist monks fall off the wagon. You know what I mean? I would not be surprised, because we're all human beings. And, an acknowledgement and gentleness to yourself of saying, you know what, I'm human. I'm going to have bad days. I'm human. I'm going to have an off day. I'm going to have an off moment, but I'm devoted to getting back up again. And that's where, the dark night of the soul moment and the star moment after the tower is so important, because it's proving to yourself that even in your lowest moments, you have the choice. You have the choice to get back up again. And if you choose to get back up again in your lowest moment, then you have proven to yourself that you are capable of always getting back up again. And then it gets easier, right? You just like, you're still climbing a hill, right? I think maybe Sisyphus is the way that it is in life. And that's about, Sisyphus is the Greek god who has to always push the boulder up the hill, I think, and then at the end of the day, the boulder rolls back down the hill. And just for an eternity, he's always rolling the boulder up the hill. Sometimes that's what life is like, and I know that's not anything anybody ever wants to hear, but it gets easier. You know what I mean? Who's to say that Sisyphus isn't just a fitness buff, right? And he's just like super into having a buff body, right? And it's like it actually causes him an incredible amount of joy to be as physically fit as he is for pushing a boulder up the hill all the time, Who knows? So it's like it's about perspective here, right? Maybe this is an opportunity to grow and teach you something else and move into a new way of perceiving and being and existing in this life. And yeah, difficult things are always going to happen. They're always here. Suffering exists. It's a part of this reality, but it doesn't have to break you as an individual. You have the choice here. We all have free will in this life. You have the choice to change the way you think of things, to move through life in a different way, to open yourself up to new perspectives, to be a different person, to change. Change is the nature of this reality. You have the ability to make something different, to make different choices, So yeah, anyway, that's mostly this reading. This is a great reading. I hope it answers your yes or no question. We went way deep into that. Your final card comes from the Healing with the Angels Oracle deck, and it is the Balance card. And I think that that's a good way to end this, right? It's all about creating a healthy balance for yourself. So, use this moment that you're in right now, this yes, to create a balance for yourself. Things are moving in swiftly. Things are changing for you fast, I think. You're definitely in this big major shift moment. And so it's important to keep balance, horns outside. So this is a important message. Make sure you're getting enough sleep. Make sure you're drinking enough water. Make sure that you're eating healthy choices, whatever that means for you. Everybody's different. Everybody's bodies are different. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Be gentle with yourself, mind, body, and soul. It's so important. And I think that when we go through these major shifts in life, sometimes it can get really easy to forget about the physical day-to-day stuff. And so there's just an importance in keeping a healthy balance in your life. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. I'm going to be mom right now and let you know, like, you got to take care of yourself. You got to eat right. You got to make sure you're sleeping. Take a walk if you need a walk. Go outside, right? It's just important. So yeah, anyway, pile number 3, that was my reading for you. I hope that it resonates. Let me know in the comments what you think either way. I love hearing from everybody. I know I kind of went through a big gap here on putting in readings, but I just want to thank everybody for subscribing and all of our new subscribers. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. It really does help me out, helps bring these videos out. I've got way more videos coming in the future, so stay tuned for those. And yeah, I'm going through a big life change myself right now, so maybe this message is partially for me. Sometimes they are. Anyway, pile number 3. I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I will see you later. Bye. Hi there, pile number 4. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be your reading on what is the answer to your yes or no question. You chose this great pile with the shells here. So we're going to dive right in. First, I would like to thank all of our new subscribers, everyone who's been with us for a long time with the channel as it's growing. I'm so thankful to everyone. Thank you to all the longtime listeners as well. I know there's been a bit of a gap. I've got a bunch of life stuff came up. I had COVID. It was bad. Lots of things. So I'm back in action. Definitely going to be bringing you more often, and I've got a bunch of news coming up in the future. So definitely stay tuned. Way more video and more tarot content to come. I got a new camera. I'm trying a new setup. Let me know what you think. If you want me to go back to just the hands only, let me know. But I wanted to try this way for a little bit too, because there's so many different ways to give wonderful tarot to everyone. So the way that these yes or no videos work for me is that we have 3 different methods for generating a yes or a no. We've got the coin, we've got the die, and we've got a pendulum. So we're going to get 3 answers, either triple yes, triple no, or a maybe leaning in either direction. I like to do it that way because in life, it's rare for us to get super clear-cut answers, even though I know we look for them from these tarot readings. I try to give as much nuance as possible. So we're going to be trying to triangulate this pendulum here just to make sure that it's working, and then we'll ask it the question. So, am I currently wearing shoes? No, I am not. Okay. Am I sitting in front of a bunch of paintings right now? Yes, I am. Am I surrounded by plants? Yes. Okay, what is the answer to pile number 3's question? Or 4, sorry, pile number 4. Okay, pile number 4, the pendulum is swinging in a no. It's a slight no, though, so we'll take a look and see what the rest have to say. So you've got 1 no. We're going to do the die next. Even is yes, odd is no. And it's a 3, so 2 no's so far. Let's take a look at the coin now. Heads is yes, tails is no. And you got a heads. So you've got 2 no's and 1 yes. That means it's a maybe leaning no. So this is one of those situations that you're asking about where at the moment the trajectory that you're going down is a no. So what does that mean? That means that in the likelihood of things as they currently exist, it's probably not going to happen the way that, like, the answer to your question is most likely no. However, with it being a maybe, there is always room for change. There's always room for something different. And this may be one of those situations where if you wanted a yes and you got a no, there are real actionable steps that you can take in your life and a bird just flew by my window, so I'm feeling that for sure. There's real actionable changes that you can make in your life right here, right now, to change your situation so that it will happen. But if you do not take those steps, if you do not take actual action on the situation, then things as they are in a no direction. So let's take a look at the cards. So the first card that you had, that you chose, was obviously the shells here, and it says delight in small treasures. So we've got this. What this is really showing me here is there's something about the situation that you're asking about that is really requiring a sort of gratitude perspective shift. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is that gratitude can be one of the most transformative actions that we can take. And what it is it's a practice in learning how to see what is actually working in our lives, right? Delight in the small treasures. What small, simple things are present in your life right now that you actually have to be grateful for? And by doing that, you actually change your line of thinking. And so I do think that there's potential, with this being in a leaning no, there's a certain level of negative thinking, I think, happening here. And, it's important to remember a lot of times, I think that sort of the new age movement went in a bit of a wrong direction in the 80s and stuff, with the sort of the power of positive thinking is real. Eliminating negative thoughts is important, and I'm going to talk about it in just a second with gratitude, but it's also important not to block your emotions, right? So there's two things that need to happen. You need to be able to experience all of your emotions, even the challenging ones, even the ones you don't want to think about. You need to be able to experience those emotions and let them flow through you. That's number one importance. Now, number two, though, is that you have to be able to change your thinking pattern as well, because by keeping a sort of by keeping a thought process within your mind of thinking, oh, well, things never work for me, everything's not going to work out, things aren't really happening, nothing ever works, the more that you keep those thoughts going through your head, the more that you are going to receive those outcomes, right? Because with the power of attraction and all of that kind of thing, the way that sort of stuff works, and it you can take it as woo woo as you want, or you can take it as practical and down to earth as you want, and I'll lay you both examples here. The way that it works is what you think creates your reality, and like I said, it doesn't have to be totally mystical. It can be very practical, and think about it this way: if you will only try the things that you think you're able to do, right? If you tell yourself that there is no possibility of something, there is no way you're going to go out and you're going to try that thing, or you're going to go and you're going to jump for that thing, or you're even going to see the opportunity that may be presenting itself to you because you don't even believe that it's possible, right? And so when you start to shift your mindset about that kind of thing, you really start to change your whole world around you. So if you start to think, when this is where this gratitude stuff comes in, instead of thinking, oh my God, everything's horrible all the time, and I'm going to obsess and constantly think and think and think about all the things that aren't going right in my world, if I'm going to switch that script and say, well, you know what? I am so grateful for the fact that I have a bed to sleep on tonight. Not everybody has that. And maybe you don't, but maybe you have water, access to water to drink. It sounds simple and ridiculous, but it's true. You can be grateful for that. Thank you to the world for providing for me. Thank you for, having food, having a shelter, for having air that I can breathe, and even if you have like mobility issues or you're not able to get around or, anything like that, like, do you have access to this world still? Anything in your life that you have the ability to connect with and be grateful for, even though they're small and it might seem silly, the more that you start practicing that, the more you are accepting these things into your life, saying, thank you for helping me. Thank you for being here. And then you're able to turn situations around and see things from a new perspective because you're opening your mind to new things and a new idea and a new way of perceiving the world. And that leads to some of these more positive outcomes that you might be looking for and you might be asking about. So let's take a look at the cards. The first card here is the Honey Mother, and it's a bee card, and she says, "Sometimes the greatest magic lies in the smallest forms." So there you go. That is incredible. Wow. Okay, so this is like totally talking about delight in the small treasures. Right? These cards are identical. That is magic. I think that's amazing. So let's really dive into this concept then. Like this is all about there is small little things here that are I think are currently with you having it in a nowhere direction. I think that there are things in your life that are already leading you towards the outcome that you want in this situation, the yes answer, if that's what you're looking for. Um, and obviously if you're looking for a no, then there's something different here, but I do feel for a lot of you, this is sort of the idea is focusing on these small little hidden hints, right? And maybe that's it too, that the universe is giving you answers on how to change, how to make things different, how to work towards a new understanding, a new reality. And it's important for you to take a look at those small little things, and I think that maybe at the moment those things are passing you by. And so it's important for you to take a look and really ask yourself, okay, well, what is this small things that I'm missing here? What's this small thing that I'm missing in the situation? And also that gratitude that I was talking about before. It doesn't have to be huge and giant for it to be wonderful, right? It can be this small, minute thing, and that's the thing too. Is like a lot of times, you might be looking to make a giant change in your life. You might be looking to take huge leaps, and it's important to remember that. Those things are possible. It is possible to move in giant directions. Like, never let anybody tell you different. But number two, a lot of times those things take deep time, and they take work, and they take habit energy and building the positive habits to bring us to those places. And so there is a little bit of a need, I think, with this to remember that it's baby steps, right? It's one small step at a time. So you don't have to, that can be sometimes too when we're stuck maybe in I've had depression in my life. I've had periods where I felt like nothing was possible, where I felt like I couldn't move forward, like I felt like everything was going to be awful always. I've been in that, or like I've had stuck having huge dreams and huge places I wanted to get to, but having no feeling like there was any possibility of getting there anytime soon. I've been there, and really what ends up helping in those kinds of situations is letting go of saying, okay, yes, I know where I want to get to, I can see that, but I also know that I'm not going to get there tomorrow, and I'm going to accept that, right? I accept that I might not be able to get to exactly where I want to be this moment. However, I'm going to take whatever small actionable step is possible for me in this moment, right? So maybe, you're living in a space that's you haven't cleaned in 7 years. I don't know, whatever it is for you. We're taking that as an example, right? So if that's the case, and your goal now is, I just want to live in a clean room again. If that's the case, it takes small actionable steps towards it. You can't, the idea that you're going to get it all spotless in the next 20 minutes, it's probably unrealistic, right? And that's probably overwhelming, and that the overwhelmingness of it is just forcing you to paralyze and not take any action, right? Take that as an example for whatever this situation might be in your own life. You don't have to do the 10 billion things. You just have to do one thing, right? Okay, today I'm going to tackle this little tiny corner here. You know what? I'm just going to look through this corner, and I'm going to throw out some things that don't need to be here anymore, and I'm going to move and put away some other stuff. And you know what? If you take those small steps at a time, I know Marie Kondo. I read her book. I liked her book. She says that's never going to work, but I don't believe that because it's worked for me a lot. Just take small steps, a little bit at a time. Marie Kondo's all about like do it all immediately or it's never going to happen. And sometimes there are situations in life call you to take giant leaps here. But I think if you are really stuck and you're really in a position where you just cannot move forward, the idea that you're going to do it all in one sitting is unrealistic, right? And that's okay. You don't have to do it all in one sitting. You can jump
and take a little tiny leaps at a time. And so then, when you do that, it does accumulate, and eventually you have something much bigger. So yeah, keep that in mind. Let's look at some more cards here. Oh, we had one more from this oracle deck, and it is the Forest Walker. Keep courage, be gentle. Yeah, so there's a lot here too. Of changing this mindset. With negative self-talk, it's a lot easier said than done. This is a lot of work. Sometimes it's a lifelong process of learning how to change how we think about ourselves and we think about the world. So don't let any small bit of you talking yourself down or any kind of negative thinking, keep you from the larger, horn outside for confirmation, the larger goal of working towards bettering yourself. And it's cumulative, right? So if you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, you know what? That's okay. That's okay, because you still took 2 steps. You're still moving forward, and it might be slow and it might be hard, but be gentle with yourself in this process, because it's not always an easy thing. And it's not so much a falling down, right? We're always going to keep falling. That's a part of life. We trip and we fall and we bruise our knee, and it hurts, right? And it happens. It's a part of life. We make mistakes. We are human beings. You can't guarantee that you're going to stop doing that. And so it's less about the falling down and more about the getting up. If you commit to getting up every time you fall, then the falling becomes easier. It doesn't stop the falling, but it just becomes easier when you do, because you say, well, okay, I'm getting up. Let's fix this. Let's keep working. Let's keep moving forward. And if you get setbacks in life, because they're going to happen, just keep moving forward on it. And the more that you do that, the more that you prove to yourself that you can do that kind of thing, the more that you prove to yourself that you're committed to yourself, that you're committed to self-love, that you're committed to self-care, that you're committed to self-improvement, that you're committed to bettering your life and bettering your world around you. Because if you want to live in a better world, the only way to do that is to better your own world. We only have action over ourselves at the end of the day. We cannot force anyone else to do anything, but we can inspire others to do things by taking actions ourselves, and we can change what is actionable to change in our own environments. And that's all we have. That's all we have. But by doing so, we do inspire those around us. And so it's really important to remember that. You have one card from the Herbal Tarot, and it is the Ten of Wands. Yeah, so, in order to do this, I think there's a really big, important lesson here. We've got these small steps forward for you. We've got focusing on the little things. And now the biggest thing for you, I think that might be the hardest thing for you to do, but is really important for making this no into a yes, is letting go of burdens that no longer need to be held, right? Maybe you have too many responsibilities going. Maybe you feel like in order to get to where you want to go, there are 10 million things that have to happen, and you cannot get there unless you make those things happen. And so you're not doing anything because you're overwhelmed by the 10 million things, right? Now, I think maybe there aren't 10 million things that need to happen. I think maybe that's just something that you're telling yourself, and that maybe you can get closer to your goal by doing 2 things. And maybe this is one of those situations where it's important to work smarter and not harder, right? That adage, where maybe there is a way to get to where you want to go, that might require asking for help, that might require reaching out to other people. If you're trying to, write a book or create something or write an album or, whatever it is, maybe there is other people that need to be a part of this process. Maybe you don't have to do everything yourself. Maybe there are ways to do it differently, where you don't have to make everything yourself. Maybe you can take some things that are pre-made and add them to the situation, and whatever that is. Take previous work that you've done and change that and alter that to make it into what you want. Anything like that. Take it, like I said, take this as it resonates for your situation. Like, this could be, everybody is asking about something different. Whether you're asking about a creative project, whether you're asking about life changes, whether you're asking about anything.
take it as it resonates, but I do feel like there's something about the situation that you're asking for where you feel like there is more that you have to do in order to get to where you want to go than is actually required. And so what's required of you is putting down some of those burdens, letting go. How can you create what you want, not by adding things into your life, but by taking things out of your life, right? And maybe to get to where you want to go, there is a lot more space that is needed in your life, and it might require you to let go and alleviate certain burdens that may be present in your life. So let's keep going here. Okay, just checking on timing because I'm going to run out of time, both battery and film soon. So we've got 3 cards now from the 1JJ Swiss deck, one of my favorite decks from the 70s here. We've got the Magician, okay, Le Batelier en français. We've got the Chariot, Le Chariot. I don't know why I need to pronounce these in French. They're in French, which I like. It's I don't know. And we have Le Soleil, the sun. Yeah, so this is great. So I think when you do this kind of stuff, right, there's a couple things that it's going to prove to you. First off, it's going to prove to you that you're in the driver's seat of your life here, and you are. Whether you believe it or not in this moment, you have total control over your life and your situation and where you are and all of it. So, you're in the driver's seat here. This is your life, and you can take changes and make actions and make things happen. And so the more that you start taking these little tiny steps, I think it's going to put you on a roll, right? So remember, to start an avalanche, it doesn't take very much. It just takes one pebble falling down in the right way in the Swiss Alps or whatever. Swiss deck, Swiss Alps. And then, all of a sudden you got this big giant avalanche going, right? So to make this momentum, you want to take the small steps, the small things now, because you're in the spot where those small things matter. They always matter. Trust me, they always matter. But it's harder to see the momentum when you're just starting. But if you continue to make those small steps, little bit actions over time, it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds to where you want to go. And that's what this Chariot is telling me too, that this is going to be this sort of exponential energy coming from this, where it's just going to keep speeding up and things are going to move faster and faster and things are going to start aligning and they're going to start working and you're going to be in this sun energy. So, you may be at a low point right now. I kind of feel like maybe you are pile number 4. But the only way to get to a high point is to start walking forward. And so, like I said, the more you start to do that, the more you're going to be on a roll, the more you're going to start proving to yourself. And that's where the gratitude really comes in and shines because, by showing that even in your lowest moments, you have so much to be grateful for, it really does shift your perspective. And you start to see every day little small things that are wonderful, that are great, that you have for yourself, that you have in your life, that you can do, that you have action over, that you can control, and you can move forward from. And so, really keep that in mind, pile number 4, that you have the ability to do this. And it might seem overwhelming in this moment, but you are the magician. You have the ability to create anything for yourself. You are in the driver's seat in your life, and you can make anything happen for yourself. Like I said, sometimes it's harder than other times to make things happen. But if you're committed to the change, and you're committed to working on yourself, and you're committed to getting back up, right? Like I said, you can't guarantee you're not gonna fall, but it's less about the falling and more about the getting back up. If you are committed to getting back up and brushing yourself off and walking forward, that's all you need. That's all you need in life. That's the most important thing because, things aren't going to be great all the time. We can't stop suffering from happening. We can't alleviate it all the time. Bad things happen in life and there's nothing we can do about it sometimes. That's just the way life works. But if you are accepting that and saying, okay, I understand that this is the case, I'm still going to keep doing what I want anyway. I'm still going to move towards my dreams. I'm still going to work on my things. I'm still going to improve myself because I'm committed to myself and I'm proving to myself that I am worth it. The more that you tell yourself that, the more that you're able to make anything happen. 4 cards now from the Wild Unknown Tarot. Ace of Cups. Yeah. So this is really leading you to a new beginning here. And it's a new beginning towards your actual happiness, which is wonderful. Um, Seven of Swords. Okay. Mother of Swords, which is the Queen of Swords in most decks. Some swords here. Yeah, that's good. I think that's good to come in here. And we have the Moon. Yeah. So, the other thing with the Moon here, you don't have to know everything to keep moving forward, right? I think maybe sometimes, especially with this overburden card, maybe the way that you've been operating in the past is this: I need to have everything planned out in order for anything to happen. And if I don't plan it all out, nothing's going to happen. Um, you don't have to do that. You can have a goal in mind. You can say, okay, this is my end goal. I'm going to work towards this, but I'm open to it being something better than that because maybe I don't know everything yet. So I have this trajectory. I'm going to move myself along this trajectory. I'm going to try to have no expectations, which is hard to do, but trust me, it helps. I'm going to try to have as little expectations about this as possible. I'm being open-minded to it being something better for me if that's what it's going to be. And I'm going to take the small little baby steps forward, even though I can't see the whole path ahead of me. And that's what the Moon card can talk about sometimes. So, even if you don't see the full path ahead, that doesn't mean you can't take small actionable steps right now and just start working towards something, knowing it's the direction that you want to go in. And then with the Mother of Swords, it really is this, once you start changing your mindset too, there might be things in your life that want to leave. There may be people, places, situations, things that just don't fit anymore as you start to change and work on something different. And I think the Seven of Swords can talk about that too sometimes. Sometimes the Seven of Swords can talk about walking away from certain things and that being, not always the easiest thing to do. That being a situation that can feel rough sometimes, but sometimes we got to walk away from things. So just, as you do this kind of work, it'll start to become obvious the things in your life that just don't fit anymore. So be open-minded about that process as well. You're not a jerk for no longer feeling like you align with some of the people around you. And, sometimes that happens. And then, you take it as it resonates too, because I think a lot of times when I was first learning about that kind of thing and setting boundaries with people and walking away from situations, it felt like I had to walk away from like everyone in my family or something, and it was like, no, you don't have to do that. But, like keep an open mind about like, okay, well, how can I create my own situation that's removed from certain dynamics, and especially with family dynamics are complicated. I don't think any of us can get through a family without having complicated, weird family dynamics, right? So, the most important thing is developing who you are on your own. And then, maybe some people in your life you can walk away from if they're not family, or even if they are family. I mean, it depends. Some people, feel ultimately that they need to remove themselves from familial situations. So obviously, take all of that with a grain of salt as it resonates for you. But, I do think the more that you start to do this, the more your mindset's going to change. So be open to your world changing, be open to everything changing. And, maybe things will start to look different. And as you move along this process, be open to how things want to change. And move and work in something new. And maybe that means places too, maybe it'll be like obvious for you to move somewhere else or, whatever it is. But the most important thing is to take it one small step at a time and to work on yourself and to work on your own personal growth and spiritual improvement and working towards you. And the more that you do that work, the more that this kind of thing will make more sense to you. So the final card is the Healing with the Angels Oracle deck, and you have signs. Yeah. Oh, I love this. So there are small signs from the universe and from your guides all around you. I kind of touched on that at the beginning here too, with the small things that start paying attention to the little tiny things around, like when I was first developing my own personal connection to spirituality and the universe and my spirit guides and all of that, I started noticing feathers, and that was my thing. It was like, oh, whenever a feather popped up, it was like, that's a sign from the universe that, oh, hello, here I'm here, or like reading, billboards and stuff, like started to become this like bigger game of like, important messages for me in the moment. So keep an eye out that maybe like angel numbers or, Mystical numbers around you might mean something, repeated numbers, 445566. I see 44 on my phone just popped up. So 944, I don't know if you are into numerology. I don't know what that means. Look that up. Angel number 944. Maybe that means something for you. Who knows? Anyway, pile number 4, I'm going to leave you there. If that resonated with you, let me know in the comments. I love to hear from everyone either way. For everyone who is just finding my videos now, please do subscribe. It really does help the channel out. Like and subscribe. Share with your friends. And thank you so much for tuning in. I really deeply appreciate it. Like I said, a bit of an apology for my hiatus. Sometimes life happens and you can't help it. Yeah, I've got a bunch of new stuff coming soon, so keep an eye out for that. And I hope that life is well, and I will see you later. Thank you so much, pile number 4, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. Hi, friends. Welcome back to another Pick a Card Tarot reading. This is for pile number 5. Welcome, pile number 5. You chose the pile with these dandelions here. So this is going to be what is the answer to your yes or no question. So how this works is I have 3 different methods for generating a yes or a no. We have the coin, the die, and the pendulum. So first up, we start with the pendulum. This way, we'll get either a yes, a no, or a maybe. And a lot of times things are not as clear as we'd like them to be, and so this gives it a little bit more nuance to have the maybe options. So I just need to ask the pendulum a couple of questions to make sure that we are getting the right answers, and then we'll ask it the question. So am I sitting in front of a light right now? I am. I have a lot of lighting equipment going right now. Am I currently wearing shoes? I am not. No. Okay. Are there plants in front of me? Yes, there are. Okay, so what is the answer to pile number 5's question? Okay, it's staying on yes. So the pendulum is saying yes, so you've got one yes. Let's take a look at the die now. Even is yes, odd is no. And we got a 3, so we've got one no. So right now we're in the maybes. We'll do one more to see if this is a maybe leaning yes or a maybe leaning no. The coin, heads is yes, tails is no. And you got a heads. Okay, so this is a maybe leaning yes. So for whatever reason, the situation is not quite clear, right? There's something going on that is leaving it with the ambiguity, but the direction that your answer is going right now is yes. So we'll look at the cards to kind of get a better understanding on what that is and sort of why we're getting that answer. And kind of what your situation is about a little bit. Obviously, everybody's asking a different question, but a lot of times these will give you a pretty good reading anyway. So you've got the dandelions, right? And it says, get lost in a daydream. So there's something about, with this being in the maybe category, there's a little bit of this feeling of making it happen yourself, or there's an ambiguity with the daydream here too. So it's sort of like, I'm getting the feeling that whatever question you're asking about is a situation where it's going to take a certain level of aha moments, with that daydreaming, getting lost in it. It's like the answer is likely going to be yes, but the only way that the yes will happen is through changing of the circumstances a little bit. Like it's like there has to be some kind of letting go of control of the situation a little bit, and leaving it up in the air a little bit, letting there be this daydream kind of state so that things will come to you, leaving things open and a little ambiguous. And I know that that's not always what we want to hear in certain situations, but there's a little bit of like, not having to plan everything out to the most minute detail, like that's going to get in the way of you being able to make this thing happen or get the yes answer. And there needs to be this sort of release and letting go of that and embracing this sort of open situation, letting things be open, not needing it to be, 100% the way that you were thinking, right? So let's take a look at some of the cards that we have. We have 2 cards from the 1JJ Swiss deck, and we have the Ace of Wands, and we have the 4 of Swords. Okay, yeah. Oh, so dreaming again. The 4 of Swords is about resting and sleep. And so, there is a certain level of dream work coming in here too, actually, like specifically dreams. So for whatever reason, pile number 5, you are being asked to pay attention to your dreams a little bit more. Like there's certain inspirations here about whatever it is you're asking. There's certain ideas that need to come to you. And communications, from the universe, from your spirit guides, from your higher self, from whatever, your soul, however you want to conceive of things. There's a little bit of communication that's needed, and that communication is coming directly from your dreams and from resting, resting on the idea a little bit too, like I was saying before, not trying to force something into being, not trying to force something into happening, but being open and allowing this sort of spontaneous creation to come in here. And there's this inspiration here as well. With the Ace of Wands is a new beginning towards your passions, towards your drives, and so it's almost like in order for whatever it is you're asking about to happen, in order for this new way of moving through the world, new inspirations to come to you. It's requiring you to pay more attention to your dreams, to rest more, to sleep on things, to allow yourself to daydream so that those inspirations come. A lot of times, the most profound inspirations that we can have come from these periods of daydream, come from these periods of not being so stuck on the day to day, but allowing ourselves to be inspired to daydream, to imagine, to just be open to thinking about things in a new way, and not feeling like you have to be super fixated on any one specific thing, but just being open to actual dreaming, and dream work in this as well. We've got one card from the Herbal Tarot, and it is the 3 of Cups. So there's a certain level of celebrating with other people in this as well. There's this I'm getting the feeling from you, pile number 5, that whatever it is you're asking about, and just in your personal life in general, I'm getting this feeling like you've been really rigid about something. There's been almost dogmatic to yourself about a certain way of being, right? Where you feel like there's only one particular way for something to occur, and it's almost like you're obsessing over that outcome, right? And you have this thing that you're trying to make happen, and your every day is all about that, and your all of your waking moments, I think you're obsessing over this thing and thinking about it, and and the cards are kind of saying like take a chill for a little bit on this. Like sometimes the most profound inspirations and the most inspiring ways forward and ideas come from us letting go of that thing completely, and then being in something where we're relaxing, like I'm getting this feeling of you need to take a vacation. That's kind of what this is feeling like. And even if you can't take a physical vacation, vacation with your mind, give yourself a week where you're not thinking about this thing, like a full week where you're like, what, I'm not going to think about it. Anytime it comes in your mind, be like, what, I'm on vacation. I'm not thinking about this thing. I'm not forcing this thing. I'm not doing it. I'm going to be having a nice time today. And, I'm on the beach, even if it's just on the beach in my mind, And that's where this 3 of Cups is coming in, as a sort of like celebrating, partying, you don't have to go crazy, obviously, but, going out and having fun, being spontaneous, hanging out with friends, doing something that is not what you have to do, just doing something for fun. There's a certain level of needing to do that, and that's going to reinvigorate you, re-energize you, and bring you that inspiration to want to move forward. Because I think maybe whatever it is you're asking about too, it's like it's one of those situations where maybe you've been working really hard on something for a really long time, and you're getting burnt out a little bit. I'm feeling a little bit of burnout from you as well, and in order to recharge from that, and that's where the maybe's coming in, right? It's like, yes, you're still on target for this thing that you're asking about, but like you got to chill for a bit too, you know? And yeah, so I'm also, you know, just thinking about from my own personal life where I've been in these kind of situations, you know, it's important to remember that you are running a marathon here and whatever it is you're trying to make. You know, you want to make something lasting. You're not sprinting. So don't feel like you're sprinting to the finish line because, you know, the more that you keep sprinting and sprinting and sprinting, you're going to collapse, right? When you're running a marathon, you have to conserve your energy. You have to strategize on how to make the long haul work. And so, you know, you're not forcing yourself too much on that. You're actually, you know, slowing down in certain points and stuff. And so there's a little bit of this rest period that's super necessary for whatever it is you're asking about and whatever situation you want to know about. In order for that thing to happen, it is requiring you to really take a chill pill for a minute here. um, Next up, we have 3 cards from the Wild Unknown Tarot. We have the World. We have the Son of Pentacles, which is the Page of Pentacles in most decks. And we have the 4 of Swords again. No, okay. This is the 8 of Swords. Okay. Yep. So this is definitely talking about how, you know, I do think that you feel really stuck about this thing right now, right? With the 8 of Swords here. I do feel like you feel like there's no way forward. You don't know how to move forward. You're feeling blocked. You're feeling kind of locked in. And the way forward is on everything that we've just been talking about. Letting go for a bit, not even focusing on it, doing something else for a second, you know, doing something for fun, something that's just an activity that's just like you having a good time where you're not thinking about this thing that you've been obsessing on. And by doing that, you actually graduate onto the next level here, right? The World is talking about moving on from a cycle and moving into something else, moving up and up, you know, into a new thing. And so there's like, in order for that to happen, you have to release a lot of that old stuff. And, you know, a part of that is as simple as like having a fun time with your friends, you know? And that's opening you up to this new, you know, Son of Pentacles is a new beginning, you know, um, towards like monetary things and physical things, you know, in the physical world. And so it's like, you know, you may be at the beginning stages, particularly if you're talking about a business here or any kind of monetary venture, you know, you may still be at the beginning stages of this, which does not mean that you cannot achieve all of the things you want to. You absolutely can, but you have to take the marathon perspective, like I was talking about on this. And, you know, obviously not everybody's talking about money stuff here, but whatever it is you're talking about, there's a certain level of like, you know, you're about to graduate first grade, you know what I mean, on this project. And so, which is fine, you know, you have to, we all start somewhere, right? And so it's like, I don't think you're like just beginning. I think that you've been working on this thing for a while, but there's a new start here for sure. Even if you've been working on this thing for a really long time or whatever it is you're talking about, there is this sort of newness that needs to come in and a new way of looking at it and a new way of perceiving things and a new way of understanding that is required in order to open yourself up to where you want to get to. So just, you know, be ready and willing to do things differently, you know, and to think of things differently. And in order to have that newness come in, there is a level of taking a break, you know. It's like you just completed first grade, now you're going to go on summer vacation and then you'll start second grade. But you have to go on summer vacation first, right? And I, you know, take it as it resonates. You might have just finished elementary school, right? And now you're in middle school, or you might have just finished, you know, I'm as a metaphor, obviously, you know, you just finished high school and now you're starting college, right? Whatever it is, whenever we like, at least in the United States, I don't know how this works in the rest of the world, but you know, every time you finish a grade level, you have a summer vacation, right? So there's a little bit of like, you know, yes, okay, you worked on what you worked on. It was great. You came to a conclusion, I think, maybe here. Horn outside for confirmation. I think you did come to a conclusion on a certain part, an aspect of this thing, and now you are being asked to take a good, solid summer vacation for yourself, however that means for you, right? And then, once you do that, then you can start back up again, right? You can start doing something different afterward. But there is a certain level here of allowing yourself to to let go a little bit, to say, okay, I did things in the way that I did, and that was great. And now I am going to take a break. And then when I get back to things, I'm open and willing, horn outside for confirmation, open and willing to do it in a whole new way. Right. So, like, that's great. I think that's great. So, yeah, be open to that. Be open to allowing things to be different. And I know that can be frustrating sometimes when we've been working really hard on something in a certain direction and a certain understanding of things. But I do think that there's a little bit of a need to change things up. And in order to even know how to do that, you got to just set it all down for a minute. Very clear message here, which is cool. I like it when it's super clear. Final card, listening. Ooh, look at that from the Angel Oracle Guide. Healing with the Angels Oracle deck. So listening, yeah, there's a certain level too. Sometimes, we can't hear the signs and symbols around us when we aren't listening. And there's a certain level here of allowing, you know, the silence when you take this break to come so that you can start getting those inspired actions, right, coming to you. But you can't hear them unless you're listening. And so there's a certain level of like, needing to take a break, needing to step away because there are new ideas that want to come into your life. There's a new way forward that is asking to become present for you. And the only way that you're going to be able to hear it is by opening yourself up and allowing that to come in. So anyway, pile number 5, I'm going to leave it there. I think that was a very, very clear message. Take a break, set it down, whatever it is, and come back to it later. And I know that's frustrating, but I think that that's important. And when you do that, you're going to enter into that yes word trajectory, even though we were in a maybe, right? The maybe is saying, like, if you just keep forcing it, it's going to keep being blocked. So allow yourself to have that openness here. Anyway, pile number 5, that was my reading for you. I hope that it resonates. Let me know in the comments what you think either way. I just want to thank everybody for tuning into my readings, all of the new subscribers. Thank you so much for tuning in. I deeply, deeply appreciate it. And everyone who's been here from the beginning, it's wonderful. I've got a lot more content coming up in the future, so keep an eye on that. I've got more announcements coming up from different things. My own personal life is in a bit of a change moment. So that's a bit of why I have been a little absent lately. So my apologies for that, but I do plan on being way more regular moving forward. So keep tuning into tarot content from here. And for now, if you would like a private reading from me, they are available on the website. You can find that information at www.junodrome.com. And yeah, that's it for me. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you later. Bye.